You have probably been testing different video tools and maybe even tried generating some slick-looking clips with models like Sora or other fancy AI generators. But if you really want to know the quickest giveaway that a clip was made by AI, it is almost always the B-roll. There is something about slightly off physics, weird micro movements, and that over-sharp, ultra-contrast look that just screams machine-made. So today I want to show you how to make B-roll that actually feels human, the kind of footage people won't immediately write off as AI. And while I am at it, I will show you how to get the most out of tools that automate editing, scheduling, and distribution so you can turn long videos into a steady stream of believable, high-performing shorts. Quick intro, I run a small content studio. We publish a ton of clips and we test a lot of different pipelines every single week. I am not just theorizing, I am talking about setups we use every day to get real engagement. The secret isn't magic, it is process, and the #1 rule for convincing B-roll is that you need a strong, realistic reference. Don't send an AI model off into the void asking it to generate cinematic B-roll and hope for the best, because it will usually look fake. Always start with something real, because that is your anchor point for quality. Here is the workflow I use. First, find real source material that matches the specific vibe you want. If I am selling a physical product like a book or a gadget, I grab product shots from the website or even an actual photo of the product in a natural environment. If the content is a creator clip, I take a clean screenshot of the person in frame to use as the base. That screenshot becomes your anchor, and it is what makes the generated output feel like it belongs in the same world as your main footage. A lot of creators skip that step and wonder why their AI B-roll looks like plastic. Even with good text prompts, AI will invent details or hallucinate text if you do not guide it. For something like a book cover or product label, get an exact image and feed it to the model as a reference. I usually screenshot the product page, then use that image as the primary visual input. If the AI messes with the text, add a prompt line that explicitly says, "Ensure all on-product text is identical to the reference." That little tweak fixes so many nightmares and saves you from regenerating 5 times. Once you have got a solid reference, keep the camera movements simple. Think like a content director. Do not ask for 5 crazy camera changes or complicated choreography. For B-roll, a small, believable move, like a slow push-in or a gentle pan across the table, is far more convincing. If you are using a model that supports start and end frames, use them for any scene change. But do not overload the system with micro instructions, because the less you ask it to do, the more likely the motion will feel natural. If you generated a creator with a high-quality model and you want them to appear in a new context, take a screenshot from that rendered actor and use it as source material. It keeps lighting, facial features, and proportions consistent, which is why you will often see continuity that feels real. That technique makes everything appear to exist in the same world, instead of a bunch of separate AI experiments stitched together. Now, some production rules that save time and credits and make things look real. Avoid mirrors, because mirrors and reflections are a classic fail for AI. AI often renders reflections incorrectly or shows mismatched movement, which breaks the immersion. If your scene relies on a mirror, expect a lot of weirdness unless you are doing a very controlled shot. Skip the mirror unless you want to spend hours fixing artifacts in post-production. Also, avoid heavy depth of field tricks for social style content. That cinematic background blur is beautiful on real cinema cameras, but for short-form content, heavy bokeh makes things read as stock or fake. Aim for an iPhone-style depth, a shallow but not extreme blur that helps your clip read like organic content. Tone down contrast and sharpness, because AI clips tend to be over-crisp and overly contrasty, which is another dead giveaway. In your editor, reduce contrast, pull back sharpening, and do not be afraid to generate in 720p if your workflow allows it. For some engines, exporting at 1080p makes them over-sharpen details. I often push my clips through a light blur or reduce the clarity slider to get that phone shot softness. Keep movements minimal and believable, like an actor looking down or a hand moving naturally over a table. Those are all safer than complex dancing or dramatic performance, which AI often struggles with. Another huge gotcha is negative prompting. A lot of people try to tell the model what not to do, but that rarely works. Models are much more reliable when you describe what is happening positively. Instead of saying "she does not speak," say "silent shot, subject nods, and looks to the left." That kind of positive, explicit direction vastly improves adherence. Describe the action frame by frame if you need to, like start eyes down on phone, mid scrolls once, end looks up at camera. That specificity is gold when you are dealing with complex prompt systems. There are trade-offs between different generators. Some give more photorealism but are expensive or produce janky motion. That is where a tool like Vizard becomes useful. Instead of relying on a single AI model to do everything, Vizard helps you pull the best parts from long-form footage and stitch them into a consistent batch of shorts. You can take the realistic reference frames you generated or shot yourself, then let Vizard find the viral moments and optimize them. Vizard's auto-editing is not just cut into pieces. It analyzes long videos, chooses high-energy or high-engagement segments, and formats them into ready-to-post clips. That means you do not have to spend hours trying to guess which 15 to 30-second parts will perform. Combined with a content calendar and auto-scheduling, you can set the cadence and let the system publish automatically. For creators who are juggling filming, editing, and posting, that is a huge time saver. Some editors do not understand social norms and crop awkwardly for vertical formats. Vizard bundles the clip discovery, formatting, scheduling, and organization into a single workflow. That is why it is so valuable for creators who want consistency without the busy work. Some more practical tips that pair well with Vizard: always supply a clear thumbnail frame or reference image when you can. If you want consistent branding across clips, pin down a color grade and a thumbnail template. Also, use the content calendar to map themes, comedy versus educational versus product demos. When the AI finds clips, it is easier to slot them into a planned editorial flow rather than posting random stuff. One last secret I will give away: you can rescue a lot of otherwise fake-looking B-roll by treating it like real footage in post. Add camera grain, subtle gyro shake that mimics handheld movement, and slightly lower the vibrance. Blend in a real phone shot frame for a few frames as a transition. This tricks the eye into seeing the whole clip as authentic. Small details like realistic audio ambience, a muffled cafe hum, or distant chatter also make a big difference. To recap, start with a strong, realistic reference, keep motion simple, and avoid mirrors and extreme depth of field. Reduce contrast and sharpening, prompt positively, and use a workflow tool to automate clip discovery. If you pair these production rules with an editor that understands short-form mechanics and scheduling, you will go from "that is AI" to "where did you film that?" If you want to see step-by-step how we turn a long live stream or a 1-hour interview into a week's worth of organic feeling shorts, I have got a walkthrough for you. No fluff, just practical steps to help you scale your content production. Try those techniques on your next batch of footage and you will be shocked how much more believable it looks. And if you want to streamline the whole posting side so you don't have to babysit uploads, the auto edit and calendar combo is worth checking out. Alright, that is the main thing I wanted to share: the small production habits that make AI-assisted clips read like real content. If you want templates, exact prompt examples, or a quick audit of your current clips, drop a message and I will help. Thanks for watching, and let's make your content look human again.